Hey everyone, it is the Redmen Originals Podcast. It is half term and one of us was too stupid to book it off. So that's why Steve and Chris are currently enjoying their family and we're here to talk about Liverpool. It is Errol Smith joining us on the couches outside of a match day.
I know.
Get it,
boss.
Chloe Blocks and Dan Club as well in here with us to discuss Liverpool 3, Forest 0. And then we've got some other bits and pieces to discuss, which I'll have to judge the tone as we kind of get into it, but obviously we've seen a lot of stuff, kickoffs around the use of flags and banners and what have you around Liverpool. We're going to talk a little bit about the club's response to that. And then we're going to talk about the squad unity as well, which looks to be at an all-time high, certainly at the highest we've seen it in a good year, because it was fucking rubbish last year. Rubbish. Okay, Liverpool 3, Forest 0. Errol, another win on the board, another 3 points. Our most dominant performance of the season, do you think? Up there?
It's definitely up there for me. I think it was a very professional performance from us yesterday. I think there would have been so... You could have forgiven the lads for being really emotional yesterday and having their heads in all different places, and you could have understood that on a human level, but they was able to put a pin in that and then still go out and deliver on the pitches like ultra professionals, and it kind of just reaffirmed where this current crop are at this particular moment for me. So I was made up. I didn't think Forest was going to cause us any problems in terms of kind of weighing us in and keeping us penned in for a long period. I knew that they would have moments. It was how we handled those moments, and if we was going to be switched on enough, and we really was, mate. There was no player you could fault yesterday at all for any performances.
It was one of them games, Chloe kind of said this, is that we can look at a run of fiction and go, right, these are winnable games, but that's great, but you've then got to go and win them. And so far, so good in that regard, and they've needed to be. On Bias Footy Pod, we're going to look at how the league table looks for sort of all the top teams after 10 games on the next show. But, broadly speaking, we all know points haven't been getting dropped by other people, so you can't afford to take your foot off the gas. And I don't think Liverpool at any point went absolutely flat out against Forest, but I don't think at any point were they really under any threat of not winning that game. Yeah,
the first half specifically was wave after wave after wave of pressure, or at least it felt like it. There was a little 5-minute bit of frustration where we were a bit angry and the players were a bit frustrated, but the goal came after that little period of frustration, and it came from a counter-attack which we hadn't been able to actually counter because we'd had so much pressure and we'd had so much possession, and then there you tried to go up the other end, kind of get a breakaway, and McAllister, I thought, had his best performance in a Liverpool shirt yesterday. He won the ball high up the pitch. He had a really good first half, won the ball high up the pitch and set Mo Salah away, and obviously Darwin Nunez makes the keeper make a save, and Diogo Jota smells danger anywhere, and after that first you saw us relax then, because we knew that we've got the goal now, Forest. You're going to have to at some point come out at us, and even then we'll pick you off. And it was just a professional performance. The Reds got it done. We didn't have to get out of second gear. In that second half, you could tell we all wanted to be off that pitch. They couldn't be bothered. But Salah ultimately finishes it and is inevitable getting his goal as well.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting because Chloe makes the point there that we've got the goal, they need to come out at us now. Mm-hmm. They never did. And their game plan was just hope that we got sucked in enough that they could stick one over the top. At no point did we fall for that, Dan. And even to the point of by the end of it, they brought Tyro on at the end, and he did not. And he was scared of getting stuck in. It felt like, particularly at 2-0, they were like, well, we're not going to go gung-ho on this one because we're just going to get absolutely smacked. So both teams. I mean, there was a point. In fact, was it this game? Was it midweek with the whistle blew? It was midweek, wasn't it?
Midweek,
and if someone had blown a whistle on 70 in this one, I honestly think everyone would have gone,
fair enough.
Yeah.
So you've got to put your hand off at that point, I think, to get off the pitch. Because you're right. I think he knew. It was interesting. When they came out for the second half, the TV camera sort of panned on Cooper and his assistant, and they were discussing. And I thought to myself at the time, they must be thinking, we got nothing. We got no way of hurting this Liverpool team, because you're right. They came with a game plan, which is 5-4-1, get Elanga, the fastest man on the pitch that they own, get him highest and get him running behind, and we'll go for a long ball. But it wasn't working because our offside trap was so effective. One time they got him in and he had a shot on goal. Turned out he was about 4 yards offside. So they had no answer to what we were doing. Even if they did go physical with a one-of we got Canate and Virgil van Dijk there. And a Virgil van Dijk, by the way, was absolutely imperious. Like, nothing was, even when he did sort of half look like they got Elanga in, he was just putting on the afterburners and going, yeah, not a chance, my mate. So they didn't have anything, any weapon. And it's interesting because that's far removed from playing against Forest last season, because they caused us a whole manner of problems, home and away, because we only just scraped the Anfield game 3-2, and it was a really sort of hair and scare him. Long throws were causing us issues. Everything they did was causing problems. But yesterday, it was like, whatever you throw at us, we've got an answer for, and we're going to hurt you the other way as well. So I don't know. And it's not really sort of a criticism of Forest necessarily, because that should be the case. Yeah. But it just shows you how far removed we are, and it's night and day, like I said to you yesterday, Errol, from our problems last year to where we're at now.
I'll stick with you on the Van Dijk stuff, because I totally agree. I think it was Sam Maguire posted an article this week, and the headline was on the lines of, he's not a cheat code anymore, but on his day he's still the best. He's still the best of the best, and that was exactly what it was. I really enjoyed the Virgil van Dijk that engages, that's got a bit of fire in his belly and a bit of a point to prove. And look, going up against Anthony Elanga as a lone centre forward is not going to be the hardest afternoon in football. But actually, by the end, our knees meant to come on and be really a bully, and he goes nowhere near him, because again, Virgil was just in such good form.
He doesn't want the smoke.
No, and he's not. And that's what Virgil van Dijk has done to anyone and everyone. We've seen some of the very best attackers in world football get close to Virgil van Dijk and go, oh, well, not this then, you know what I mean? I'm not winning that. And they have a shot from 35 yards, a speculative one, because that's all
Martinez is still running the other way.
Yeah. And at the time, he was banging in goals for fun, albeit in Serie A, and his Champions League record was ridiculous. But then he gets near Van Dijk and he goes, oh, well, that's the end of this. That's me. And we're seeing that again yesterday. Like, even Elanga. And it's interesting because last season, I said this to Errol yesterday, like, teams came to Anfield and they thought, we give him a bloody nose, we'll see what happens. Forest just got there and went, well, I don't know what we do here. You know what I mean? And so much of that was down to the likes of Van Dijk just flexing his muscles again and saying, I've heard all the talk about all the other centre-halves, Van der Ven, Romero, people like that, Ruben Diaz, etc., etc. Watch what I can do. And we're seeing that more and more from Van Dijk now. And I think yesterday, personally, was probably his best performance. You mentioned sort of our most dominant performance. I certainly think it was his. I think in terms of us, it was our most mature performance. And I think it was a performance of sort of a bit of a statement, because if people aren't talking about us as a serious contender, with Van Dijk at his best, with Mohamed Salah doing what Mohamed Salah does, and the engine room purring again, we have got to be in that conversation.
He's just brilliant at football, and he is, as mentioned, he's still a physical specimen. And there is a little bit of that where I wonder last year, obviously inevitably he came back from the injury, and we were all a bit taken aback by how much football he ends up playing. Last season was a bit of a knock on, and he even said it himself, you know what I mean? He played too much prior to that, maybe he wasn't ready for it. And it looks like he trusts his body again. That's so actually, because this is the thing about being the man at the top of the mountain, being the king, you don't want to embarrass yourself. No. You don't want it, to try and it not be there and get made a fool of. It actually looks like he backs himself. He's looking to go, I can go and push myself, because I know I actually got the reserves.
I've got it, and it was a timely reminder for us, and not just as Liverpool fans, but for wider football fans in the Premier League, that, write him off. Write him off, because we know what we've got in Virgil van Dijk. And I've likened it in recent weeks to when he was at his best. If you're playing FIFA, you're talking he was a 91, 92 plus centre-back, do you know what I mean? When you'd get him in your ultimate team. He was. In the season after his injury, he came and we went on to do amazing things. We was basically in it till the last day of everything. He probably drops his level, which is again a ridiculous level. He probably drops it to an 87, but 87 still shits on all of the other centre backs in the league on their best day anyway. And now it's like, as you said, then he trusts his body. There was a period last year where I genuinely thought, has he got one eye on the World Cup? Is he trying to hold some? And do you know what? You can't really blame him. He's never represented his country at an international.
He gave up the Euros to rehabilitate himself properly as well, didn't he?
Exactly. So it's like, you've sacrificed so much already. Here's an opportunity for you to go on to the World Cup. You just want to make sure that you're fit. You seen what happened to Gini. That would have probably sent shivers up his spine. He probably thought, you know what? And all those things, even if that takes 5 to 10% off what you're capable of, when we've seen the very best, we notice that difference in his performances. Whereas now, 12 months on from that, you're right, mate, 100%. He trusts his body again. So he's happy to do the things in the past where he would probably shepherd somebody, or he'd try and stand off and he might turn and he might look on an awkward angle, and we're thinking, that's not really Virgil van Dijk. Now he's back to being exactly what he was, what we knew we was always going to get from him. And he looks, especially with the leadership role he mentioned earlier about the huddles, and then bringing those things back and bringing them back into, obviously, from the Celtics days, and he wants that with Liverpool Football Club now that he's a captain. You've won everything as a player with us, great, but what do you want your captaincy, what do you want that legacy to look like, and how you can't just coast. Henderson couldn't coast just being a captain for us. Yeah. Some parts of his game had to go up some sort of level in order to not only warrant the respect of the team, but the respect of the wider fan base. Virgil van Dijk's got a new challenge in that sense, because from a player's perspective, he's won PFAs, he's won Players of the Year, he's won competitions, he's got all the accolades, he's got the team honours. But now as a captain, you've got a fresh start to kind of create a new extra legacy for yourself. And I think this was what, as Dan was saying, was his best performance in doing that. But again, I think that could be the standard bearer for him going forward now, to say, well, this is the level that I am back to performing at, and I want to maintain that, because if I'm at that level, I'm the type of player that can drag other players up to play up to the next level, especially in that defensive line.
I think that's really important again, and the captaincy is a big part of it. Look, Jordan Henderson's been at Liverpool for 11 years, 12 years, whatever. Prior to that, he wasn't not the physical specimen that Van Dijk. He wasn't the supreme. It's just a god tier footballer. Ultimately with Van Dijk. But sometimes you get with that is that you do just I'm so good. You can get by on your order or get back on just moving it around. You don't have to go flat out. You don't have to test yourself on a daily basis. Whereas Liverpool's skipper, the benchmark has been set on what Henderson did there. But also, Chloe, there's a bunch of new lads coming into the team. Everyone's pulling in the same direction. Everyone's running harder, running longer, running as fast as they can for as long as they can. And Van Dijk, to a degree, he's got the captain's armband now. I'm glad to see it's affecting him, but it's affecting him in a positive way. It's making him pull his weight a little bit more, because, let's be honest, he could just be the Virgil van Dijk of the last 5 years, and you'll just see it start to drip away a little bit. But I like the idea of him stepping up to the mantle. Is it a bit of fighting against the dying of the light? I don't know. I think it's probably too soon for that. But I just think at a club where everyone is expected to work their absolute bollocks off, seeing your captain, who's also the best centre half of a generation, also do the running. I agree with Errol. It sets a brilliant example for all the players in the squad.
It does, and actually, if you go back to when we had to pick a new captain, I think a lot of us would have said Virgil van Dijk is not my style of captain, and I was one of them. I turned around and said, no, I want someone who screams. I don't want the best player on the football pitch to be a captain. You shouldn't have that. But you've got the mixture of Liverpool having so many good players and Virgil van Dijk just being one of them. And I do think his captaincy has took him to a new level. He has so much responsibility now. He floated about a pitch knowing that he was the man and that he was the best. And now it's more like, no, actually, I want everyone else to be on my level. I want to win things. And also, the captain's armband for Liverpool, it's an unbelievable honour. Like, you are the captain of Liverpool. Look at the captains of Liverpool, the previous captains. They've lived up to expectations. And the thing about Jordan Henderson was, he wasn't the best footballer on the pitch. He wasn't. But he did everything else that made him an exceptional captain for Liverpool Football Club. Now you've got someone who's unbelievable on the pitch, and his leadership skills are coming through. You saw it with the huddles, but you saw it yesterday when Diogo Jota went to pick up Luis Diaz's top. Virgil van Dijk walked over with his arms around about 3 players, and they were all clapping. And it was it's the solidarity. It's we're one. And if someone wants to come for any of my players, they're going to come for me first, because I'm going to stand up for every single one of them. And I love that. I love the fact that I think he can go back to that level where he was. Because, like you mentioned, he was absolutely brilliant, and even now, like, I've not seen that pace from Van Dijk in a while. I've not. Sometimes he's just not cared to do it. It looks like, but he was bullying people. It was in the second half, and I think they had one down the cop end, and the lad goes to get past him. Virgil van Dijk just shoves him out the way, and the cop laugh. The cop physically laugh because that's Virgil van Dijk, lad. Know who you're up against, and to get that order back would be boss as well, because he is one of the best centre backs I've ever seen.
Do you think that's a bit of a masterstroke from Klopp there, in a way, to be like, how do I incentivise this lad to get back to his peak best? Because he's done it all. He's won it all. I can ask him to train harder and all those things, but if there's something that's going to drive him on and spur him forward, adding that armband and everything that comes with it.
I think that's a really interesting idea, because, like, Salah could have had it.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
You could have give it to Salah, but do you get more from Salah? I don't think you do. No. Salah's just like that. And again, this is a bit of a style issue sometimes. Of like that's how Van Dijk carries himself. But I like the idea of him picking up, chopping a bit of wood for the team every now and again. Yeah. The Salah does that. But in how Virgil plays, there aren't many situations where he has to kind of firefight too much. He's got his other guy doing that for him. But he looks like he's actually relishing. It's funny, but I see it with so many of Liverpool's coaching staff. Like, we had John Achterberg in here a year or two ago, and like, he stayed dead late having a chat with us about all kinds of stuff, and then he like bounded off across the car park to his car because he had to crack on with the rest of the day. But he's just one of those people who's got a spring in his step. He loving his life, loving his role. They're all like that. And Virgil, actually, you wouldn't necessarily associate him with that, but actually, someone said to him, there's not many years left of this, mate. So, go and pour it out. Go and enjoy. Go and give what you can at the highest level. And if the armband's helping him get that, then that's, Klopp's never really, I don't think he's ever really valued the armband in a massive way. He's put it on all kinds of different people. But if he's tactically put that on Van Dijk and it's helping to get that extra few %, then yeah, it is a bit of a masterstroke.
The other thing is he's captain of his national team, and I've never seen anyone criticise their captain more than the Netherlands do. They literally bully Virgil van Dijk. He's your captain, and all I ever hear is criticism of that man, even though they've got...
I think every nation does that, don't they? Yeah. Like Andy Robertson has that for Scotland.
Yeah.
And all
I don't see it as much, though. Like, professional football
unless it's
is
Harry Kane, and they just love you all.
Yeah,
and don't forget Raphael van der Vaart, absolutely.
Wesley Sneijder, all of them just come out. So I also think him being captain of Liverpool, where he's literally adored, will help him as well, because he has the fans supporting him no matter what.
There is the last thing, and this is just, we mentioned the other players around the Premier League, the other ones who every year there's a new, this guy is the best centre-half in the Premier League. Yeah, Laporte. Remember when it was Laporte?
Harry Maguire.
What's Laporte doing these days? Anyone? But yeah, there's always a new one. But it feels a little bit like, who gives a shit? Like, he's not in his prime anymore. So there's no point. At some point, he won't be at that level. He won't be able to be at that level. So gives a shit about everyone else. Just go and play your game and go and enjoy it. I'm thoroughly enjoying this version of Virgil van Dijk so far. I had a conversation with Carragher and Neville last year about it, and I think it was Neville in particular. They had some rumblings of Brazil, that type of centre half, they don't last and all this kind of stuff. And you get it. I think you get a little bit of that in the game of when someone's that good and that lauded, they kind of want them to fail a little bit.
You can't wait for them to come off the other side of the deal.
Yeah. We're going to talk about some more of the game. Just want to get through some comments before we do. Right from the start, 811 YT, whose comment I'm certain will come up any moment. It says, perfect timing, just made some food, and the GOAT Errol is here. Happy days. Loved Redmen TV. And then Lee Mitchell, so much love for Errol in the comments here. Boss to see Errol on here. Need to know where he got the hat.
Do you know what? It's me little brother. It's one of his mates that he went to school with. He's did his own little brand and stuff and put together. To be honest, the truth is, I need my hair doing. You don't want to see what's under the hat. So it's hiding an awful set of braids at the minute. Yeah.
And Tom Darby asked one of the obviously wrong questions. He said, is Errol's dad called Flynn? No, and think about it, because that would mean your dad was called Flynn Smith.
Yeah.
Which isn't...
But you know who Errol Flynn is?
Yeah.
That's what.
Oh yeah. They've done it.
It's just got. I mean, I know what you were going for there, mate.
Close, but no cigar.
But you've just got it wrong on the internet, in front of basically thousands of people. But you know what? Sometimes you've got to shoot your shot. You know, you don't know if something's funny or it works sometimes until you put it out into the world. Yes, right. Let's crack on with the game. Then we touched upon Diogo Jota's celebration, Dan. So it was lovely. I mean, in all honesty, I had no idea what he was doing at the time. We were speculating, was he so thirsty that he was like, right, the game's got to get on. I'm not going to have time to have a drink after a celebration. I'm just going to go and hydrate. But obviously he ran over and he got the shirt. I just thought it was a lovely moment, really, and it must have been thrown together pretty quickly, you'd imagine. But yeah, you know, these are forwards. Sounds stupid, but like forwards live for scoring goals, and to actually have the wherewithal to not throw yourself into the cop and instead to stop and actually go and do that, I think it spoke volumes to how much it meant to the players.
Yeah, well, Jota is the coolest forward we own, essentially. Whether Darwin Nunez would have had the presence of mind to calm everything down and run over the dugout is a different
spin on the crossbar.
He could have been in row F by that point, yeah. But it's a really nice, good gesture, and you're right, they wouldn't have had loads of time to put it together. No, Klopp spoke about he's never experienced any sort of build up to a game like that, neither of any of the players. So credit to the players and the staff, whoever it was, came up with that idea, because it never really crossed my mind. Obviously I knew what was going on and the Diaz stuff, and knew all about that, and obviously wasn't featuring, but it never dawned on me that they might do something like that, were they, to win the game or score the first goal or whatever. So credit to them for it. And yeah, a really good show of sort of solidarity with Diaz. I know Diaz was sort of all across social media later on appreciating the gesture, essentially. So yeah, credit to them for it. And like I say, Jota's calmness and the fact he scores a goal, and it's like another day for him, isn't it? Essentially scoring goals, so yeah, he had the presence of mind and the collection of force to go, oh, I know what I need to go and do now, and he runs straight over. But your dad this morning, he said the same. He had no idea what he was doing. Not a clue. But doesn't need to talk that much. Did it wait 5 minutes now?
Yeah. It was just, again, just to kind of echo the sentiments, really, Errol. It's just nice, you know, and I know it's the kind of thing, the football is littered with these things. Football players do think about this, you know, like they have messages underneath on shirts and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, it was just, it speaks to, we're going to do more on this in part 2, of course, but yeah, it just speaks to a bunch of players who are totally all bought in with one another.
Well, that's it, and I suggest, especially with the foreign lads, like, so they're millions of miles away from home. Some of these lads, you know what I mean? And like, essentially, you lads, you become my family. You know what I mean? You're my adopted family, where, you know, a brotherhood. He said the forwards all have got like their little group, the defenders, you know, the Holland lads will have that little clique, the lads that can speak Spanish. All those little things all like start to grow what is that unity that you have all spoken about so far. And I just think they probably look at a situation like that, knowing that's happened millions of miles away from Liverpool and Anfield, and they're probably thinking, that could have been me. Now, obviously, it's a horrendous incident, what's occurring, but something similar. It was, you know, I mentioned yesterday, it wasn't necessarily this type, but when Alisson lost his dad, very, very suddenly, or when Klopp lost it was his mum, wasn't it, in COVID. Like, those type of moments when those things happen that are unforeseen, it just reinforces in that human element of things, and just makes you, puts everything back into focus. What are the important things all over again? And yeah, this is a job, and yet I am lucky, but fucking hell, like, that's me boy. Do you know what I mean? And it weighs, I think it weighs heavy on them sometimes when they are, everything they do is for their families.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that they've left third world countries,
and people like him.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, they've left third world, like the Manes of this world, what he went and done back in his hometown, and you know, his home country and all stuff like that. Everything is because they know, I am so lucky to have the opportunity and the platform, and that could be if they played for any top flight club. It's not, but when they do it within this dynamic and this particular setup, obviously we're going to have that biased aspect of things, but it does tend to mean more. It rings, the sound rings and echoes around the world. That picture, that image will have been shown from one side of the world to the other side, and it just reinforces and highlights what Liverpool Football Club is and the values and morals we stand for.
It's just not a small point on it as well. I quite liked it was Jota because Jota effectively plays because Diaz isn't there. So Jota played the full game right in midweek. He probably wouldn't have started this game, so he's come in. He's effectively taken Diaz's shirt for the game, and for him to be the one to do it. And again, it's just it shows a great feeling between the players. Darwin Nunez. Speaking of great feelings, a man who gives us great feelings every single time he takes to the pitch right now. Chloe blocks him. Darwin Nunez was utterly Darwin Nunez in the first half. It was one of the most Darwin Nunez performances. I mean, I know that hitting the post the other day was deemed special, like peak Darwin, but he was just like a runaway freight train. He was just tearing after everything, causing constant problems, running in behind, battering shots at the goalie. He's an absolute joy. The overhead kick, which is miles over the bar. I mean, not many footballers who would try that get that as wrong as that, and then not be greeted with just like chuckles of just pure joy from the cop. He's just great.
Yeah, he is. He's a player who I've never seen anyone laugh at anymore, but still absolutely adore him. Like, I'm usually laughing at opponents when they miss, and when they've Anthony just volleying someone the other day because he's absolutely crap is hilarious. But Darwin Nunez is hilarious in a whole different fashion. Like, he misses one-on-one chances and you laugh because there's you should be furious, but you laugh because it's Darwin Nunez. He's fully bought in. Everything about him, he adores the club, he adores the fans. Every time he scores, he's, patting the badge, and he's a really good footballer. I think we all knew last season he'd take a step up, because last season he wasn't awful. He needed to calm himself, be a bit more composed, and also learn exactly what Jurgen Klopp wanted from him. But he's now a year in, and my word, he looks a scary footballer. Him off the shoulder, his all-round play has just got so much better. If he needs to hold the ball up, he will do it for you. He chases after people. My favourite parts, like when someone wins the ball off someone and he's sprinting about 30 yards to just get that ball back. And he doesn't get his goal, but he's running behind that Salah feeds, ultimately gets the goal because he's made the keeper make a save, and the keeper's parried it straight towards a dangerous area where Jota is. So another really great performance, and he's one of the first names on the team sheet for me every single week.
I've seen him mentioned, there's a comment here saying I don't want him to be a novelty figure. It's Monty Jallo there, and I've seen mentions of the agent of chaos stuff. I feel like we're saying that less, and it's not that he's less of an agent of chaos. I think he's causing just as much chaos as ever, really. But he's scoring goals, so it's not like I heard it mentioned at some point last year. It was a bit Everton. This idea of this guy who's just a bit of a character, and he's a bit mad, but he doesn't score many goals. It's that's a very Everton thing to kind of celebrate someone being a bit of a lunatic. So I did love Duncan Ferguson so much, but he's actually adding the goals as well. He's adding the goals and the assist. His all-round forward play has been brilliant. To kind of expand on Chloe's point, we're fast approaching that point where there's not a type of game that you wouldn't want Darwin Nunez leading the line for you.
And that's what's almost more pivotal than anything else for me. Goals and assists always felt like would come with Darwin Nunez. There's been frustrating moments as well, of course there would, but he's always looked like somebody, particularly goals, who would get his fair share. But for me, it was his all-round football, which is why when Cody Gakpo came in midway through last season, he just felt like the answer, because albeit he might not have the pace or the raw power, or that he might not sort of get the numbers of a Nunez, he linked everything up so much better than Nunez. But now Nunez,
but if you finish the season, if we've not watched any of pre-season, because Darwin was really good in pre-season, I thought if you just finished the last game of the last season and then started this, you'd be thinking Gakpo's the man, and he's absolutely going to kick ass. He hasn't.
No.
But Darwin Nunez absolutely has.
He's made himself, he's probably not the finished article just yet, I think that's it, but he's not too far removed from it, which is absolutely massive. And I think as well, Chloe mentioned, and you mentioned sort of the overhead kick there, and the fact that he can just shrug that off. And I think last season, stuff like that and things not going his way necessarily really got to him. We've said it millions of times about him. He's a confidence player, and I think right now he's feeling himself, and he's feeling himself in a big way, which is why he's trying them sort of things. He knows, I'll have a pop at this, if it doesn't go in, who's bothered? Yeah. Whereas last year, it felt like he was almost second guessing himself, because there was so much pressure, there was so much expectation on his shoulders coming in, being the front man, albeit he wasn't number 9 at the time, but being the front man for Liverpool. Liverpool and Haaland signed at the same time and the price tag and all that sort of stuff, it was like it was all eating away at him. But whatever's happened over the summer, that's all been removed. It's just gone. And now he's like, oh, yeah, I can just enjoy myself and play footy. Yeah, I can do that.
He's scoring different types of goals. I think I just said he didn't score. No, he scored a poacher's goal. He scored a poacher's goal. Like, that's a Diogo Jota goal. That is where Diogo Jota is.
Man City goal.
It's not, it's Errol Haaland. And that's the thing, you know, he's not just the running behind player, get on the shoulder. We've seen him do that midweek. But it's the fact that he had the intelligence. He's such an intelligent footballer when you watch him. His movement's incredible, actually. And he does get his goal. Sorry, I've just absolutely forgot that goal. And it's
I interpreted it to mean he didn't get that
first
goal.
One was
yes, the first one, yes.
We'll say that.
Yeah, no, he didn't, but he made the keeper make the save. But his second goal is different, and that's why I like it, because it's so many strings to his bow. He knows exactly, you know, what he can do, and that's just get anything on it, put it in the back of the net. And yeah, I'm getting excited because I'm seeing so many different styles of Darwin Nunez and what he can do. And his link-up play with Salah is incredible as well. So yeah, looking forward to more of Darwin Nunez.
He's good. The numbers are there, Errol, as well. This is the thing, because I last season I think he started, even obviously has the suspension which kind of derails him a bit. He's had a couple of niggling injuries, but I still think of like the Merseyside derby, and he forced like a hell of a save out of Jordan Pickford. He smashes one towards the far top corner. I think it's in the first half. He's taking those early shots on and what have you. But the more that the season wore, I remember looking at the numbers last year. There's a divide. There's pre-World Cup Darwin and post-World Cup Darwin, and post-World Cup Darwin was crap. By the standards we're looking for. His overall numbers on the season are fine. They're like Mane level of goal return from his first campaign, but you know, Sadio Mane won Liverpool's Player of the Season that year round.
Hasn't he got more? Is it him that's got more assists for Salah? Yeah,
Mane ever did.
That blew me away. He's been there for just over 12 months. I was like, what? How? But he has, and that's to your point there. The link-up play that he's got with Salah, and I think that was probably one of the things that was more palatable last season. As you said, the post-World Cup Darwin's numbers weren't great, but his link-up with Salah, those were the signs of the improvement. And I think that was towards the back end of the season when I was starting to think, your link-up players there, you're starting to get on the wavelength with each other now. I'm not understanding. That's probably the first part of it all, the jigsaw for Darwin that needs to be pieced together. How do you play with the other forwards? Because in the Benfica setup, you was the ball ended up with you, whereas not always is the ball going to end up with you in this Liverpool. We've got two other guys either side of you that are equally as capable, if not more capable on their day, to do the job. So how do you turn into the provider, the assister for them? And I think that was where you started to see signs last season. But then I take the point of the pre-season. Darwin looked good. I was shocked that Darwin wasn't really starting for us as he goes for. He's a confidence player. Started the season for, you've got to strike while the iron's hot with Darwin. Like if we're going to get 10 games out of him and he's going to run himself into the ground, it'd be great. I'd rather him do it now, and then as soon as he starts to be off the boil a little bit, then you bring in the Gakpos. Because Cody looks a lot more like assimilated to the team anyway. Like he could be out for 3 or 4 games, then drop him back in, and you know what you're going to get. Whereas it's almost as if you need to get every ounce out of Darwin when the going's good. And at the minute he's just, but again, at the minute my opinion's changed even more, because like we said, you can't really look past putting him in the starting 11 at the minute, because you know you're going to get that chaotic side of things that is just a joy to watch, but you're starting to get an actual baller, a footballer, a professional that understands when to make the runs, when to take the shot on, when to try and beat a man, when to hold the ball up, all those other things which you just expect for your money.
Shock. Klopp improves footballer. Like honestly, it's like you think we've never seen a footballer improve in the 8 years of Jurgen Klopp. Like, I mean, he gets better every time he gets on the pitch.
The biggest compliment I could give to Darwin Nunez is if Liverpool played the final tomorrow, I'd want him in my squad. I'd want him leading the line. Wow. And if that was the end of last season, I'd say Cody Gakpo's leading my line. If we were to play Manchester City tomorrow, last season I'd have said, Cody Gakpo in the front line, protect it, keep the ball. Now it's outrageous. Darwin Nunez instantly.
He's got 10 goals and assists combined in all comps so far. 6 goals, 4 assists, 647 minutes is ridiculous. That's an absolutely stellar return. She's obviously not got I think it's the total goal figures, the thing that catches the eye. So it's actually not. I mean, just to get his Premier League one up, I think it's 4-3 in the Premier League.
But he makes shit happen.
Yeah, yeah. But you're right. But he's played 9 games in the Premier League. He's only started 4. He's played 421 minutes and he's got 7 goals and assists in that time. Again, his contribution on the pitch is phenomenal for the time that he's been on the pitch. And just sort of lastly, before we move on from him, the miss actually, I think, the other week is important, because actually how you react to that is important. And the fact that basically he was devastated at the time, you know what I mean? Like the play's still going on, he's got his hands on his knees, he's not even looking at play. It's like, mate. But everyone laughed, and his teammates took the piss out of him, and no one went, fucking hell, Darwin, what are you doing?
You know, the next day they took the piss out of him in training, that he goes into the canteen and the missus there on a big screen or something, because you've got to, but you've got to have thick skin, and the people around you are right, they're the right people to banter you, do you know what I mean? So you've got to hold that, Darwin, do you know what I mean? Because you should have finished it, but they're laughing because they can't believe everything you've done in that moment was absolutely brilliant. It was, it was like, man, do you know what I mean? It was just,
until the finish, it was skipping past people, leaving people for dead, leaves the keeper, gives him the eyes, and then it's the post. It had the lot.
I screamed far too much for him to then go and hit the post, because he'd done one, and I was like, oh, he's cut inside the defender. He then sat the goalkeeper down, and I was like, oh, and then he just hit the post, and I was like,
I think people take his misses too personally, honestly. I don't know why people seem to take it as a personal affront when he doesn't score, and it's like everyone needs him to. There are people out there who need him to be Erling Haaland, failing to take into account that he's an awkward looking fucker too, by the way. Like, apropos of nothing, my son walked in the other day and I had the City United game on, and he went, that Haaland doesn't half run weird, doesn't he? You know what I mean? He's got a clue. He's never watched a 90-minute football game in his life. Why does he even know that Erling Haaland runs weird? But he does. He does. But there's the thing about Darwin, is that you just got to enjoy him. And the good thing for me is that still a small sample range. It's only just over a year and a third. Now we've had him all year and a quarter. His numbers are all trending in the right way. Everything he does is starting to fit better and better and better. And the good thing is it's not all or nothing. Because again, look, Jota's the one who kicks the scoring off. When he misses the other day, Gravenberch is there to stick it away. As long as we've got other lads, we've been the Liverpool teams in previous years where you've got your 1-goal threat, and if he's not firing, you're in deep shit. And and that doesn't matter. We've got a very fertile environment for him to continue.
He's gone from being an enigma last season. There was too many question marks around the price tag, all the things, the comparisons. Now he's just an out-and-out problem, but he's not an us problem. He's a problem for everybody else that rocks up to Anfield or wherever we have to rock up to on whatever weekend, and that's nice, because you sit there and think it's just all about Salah now. It's definitely not all about Salah anymore, because you keep focused on him, he'll punish you. You stay too focused on them two, Jota, Diaz, Gakpo, someone of that front line is going to punish you at some point.
I paraphrase the old expression of, like, if the left one don't get you, then the right one will. It was a Bobby the Brain Heenan wrestler expression at the time for me, anyway. And the Sadio Mane, Salah Firmino stuff one is the left one don't get you, the right one don't get you, the middle one will get you. Whereas this is like, if none of these three get you, we've got 3 more lads on the bench who are probably going to come and get you at some point. And if not, we've got like 4 lads who all play in rotation behind who are all likely to get it. And it kind of leads us in, because I want to talk about Szoboszlai, because I don't think we can go a week without talking about Szoboszlai, Chloe. No reason why the Szoboszlai loving shouldn't continue, because he's absolutely magnificent. For the 3rd goal, it was Chris Pajak who said it to me when we were walking back to the car. He was like, you're not meant to play that pass with your wrong foot. Because I equated the closest I've seen in that quality was Shaqiri to Salah. I think it was in West Ham game. Absolutely magnificent. And I still think the Shaqiri one's a better pass, but ultimately he's on his wrong foot. He's not left-footed. He's got no right to be able to put that ball with that level of accuracy into that area of the pitch. Yeah, the goalkeeper makes a little bit of a hash of it, of course, but again, it's just another example of Szoboszlai just being boss.
Yeah, it wasn't just that like impressed me. It was the fact that they've had a long throw and they've put quite a couple of bodies in the box there, and him on the just on the edge of his box is chesting a ball down from the sky, as if he's got loads of time, as if there's not loads of opponents around him. He has the awareness, the composure to chest it and then to volley it, and he's like, yeah, fuck it, Salah will be somewhere up there, somewhere in that direction. But the way he's had the composure to bring the ball down, had the composure to then do such an accurate pass. He's put it so high up in the air that a goalkeeper and he's made the ability for two people to actually not put a name on it and both come for it, and he ultimately gets his assist. But he's just incredible. Every single game I see of him, he's incredible. Harvey Elliott came on, he moved to the left hand side, he's still just as good there. We know he's not, we've always want him on the right hand side, but on the left he was boss still. He's relentless. It's just ridiculous. It's like the 90 sort of minute and he's still chasing people down in the corner at the Annie Rose end, and I'm like, you're 3-0 up, it's 90 sort of minutes, it's all right, lads, just let them have the ball, the aloof it. But no, he's got the desire, and I think it was in the lead up to Cody Gakpo's offside goal, and it is pressing. If he doesn't get the first man, he's pressing the second and the third and the fourth. He's relentless, and there's so much to love about him. He knows exactly what to say. He's got an absolutely incredible mentality. His engine's ridiculous. The talent of the lad is sublime. I know Jude Bellingham, incredible footballer, will win Ballon d'Ors, but Dominic Szoboszlai is literally so talented. I'm not going to put them in the same bracket.
Well, I'm going to throw you all under the collective bus here and ask the question, because I think it was Carl Tyre of the weekend who said I wouldn't swap. I know Bellingham's brilliant, but I wouldn't swap him for what Liverpool did instead in the transfer market this summer.
Oh, wow.
What we did instead, or man for man?
Not man. I'm not suggesting Bellingham. I'm not saying Bellingham for any of the three or the four that we signed, but I'm saying what happened was we didn't pursue Jude Bellingham, and instead Liverpool ended up with McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch and Endo.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
It's a no-brainer for me. Given the fact that I can say that after 10 games, knowing that collectively they've hit the ground running, we're in safe hands. Flip that coin and you turn around and say, all right, we get Jude Bellingham. Within those 10 games, him on his own could have got an injury. That then means you've got the whole season without Jude Bellingham, and we are back to inevitable square one, which is more misery. Oh no, but it is, bro. I would be fuming. I'd be having meltdowns every week. Because you know what you're going to get. Whereas we could say it now. Hindsight's 20/20. We could say it now because it looks like, for all intents and purposes, we've made the right decision.
Are you about to shit on our collective transfer business here, Dan?
Right, so,
you bad man.
Listen, like, our midfield's boss, McAllister's boss, Szoboszlai is outstanding. Ryan Gravenberch is just incredible, phenomenon. Endo will be sound. Jude Bellingham's a joke.
Yeah.
Absolute joke.
I'm in the same boat.
Kid's a joke. I'm sorry, kid's a joke. Like, I get the injury thing, but if my auntie and all that, he's an absolute farce. Like, he won. He single-handedly won El Clasico the weekend. Dominic Szoboszlai is phenomenal. Love him to pieces. Ridiculous. But Jude Bellingham. I'm sorry.
That's why
you're asking based on Jude Bellingam's
10
just
years, 15 years worth.
Silly.
And you can still buy other players after it.
Ballon d'Or winner, future Ballon d'Or winner.
And I hear that, but my thing is, because I seen obviously the El Clasico stuff the other day, and I'm thinking, he just gets the license to just be Jude Bellingham. It's for all intents and purposes, it looks like in that Madrid side, you've got the quality, go and be that guy. I don't think he gets that same license. I don't know whether Dominic Szoboszlai, I just don't know, because obviously he's not getting coached in the same way, but I'm just like, when you come into Liverpool, there is a way that Klopp wants you to see out his game plans, and I'm not saying Jude couldn't see out the game plan, but are you going to be that free scoring player that you are for Madrid right now?
10 for Madrid.
That's what I mean. I think there's got to be some slight tweak.
Curtis Jones at the end of last season was getting goals because he was given licence to go a little bit further forward.
Yeah, true.
And Jude Bellingham is possibly the best midfielder at a riding in those positions.
We have to be careful here, because I don't want to end up like we're going like, nah, he's crap, that Bellingham. No one thinks Jude Bellingham's crap. He's brilliant. He's probably going to be the best English player of his generation, and that's bear in mind. There's like Phil Foden's pretty good as well, and Trent Alexander-Arnold's a little bit older, but he's phenomenal, best in his position over the last 5 years in the world. I'm arguably the best of all time. But can I also offer a counterpoint that La Liga is shit?
Yes, please.
Can we just make that point? So as much as Jude Bellingham is tearing it up for Real Madrid, and Real Madrid are a super club, and somehow it elevates you more doing it in that in the big white kit, and you're doing it. And look, he's winning El Clasico. Great, he's won El Clasico. Barcelona are even more shite. Yeah. Can I ask a question? So Jude Bellingham is the top goal scorer in La Liga right now, right? With 10 goals. Can anyone tell me who the second top goal scorer is?
Like individual.
Yeah, who's the second top goal scorer in La
Liga?
Who
plays for Girona? They're second.
Flying, aren't they?
Vinny?
Vinny.
Yeah, Vinicius.
Oh, I'd only have recognised Vinny if you said Vinny Jr.
Because
I just like Vinny Jones, Samways. Anton Griezmann is second top goal, and you might go, you know what, Anton Griezmann's all right. Nah, he's shite. He's 32 years old, and I'm sorry, but he never reached the heights. You know, people loved Griezmann, rubbish. Third top goal scorer, Alvaro Morata. Yeah, remember him?
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a
rubbish.
throwback.
Rubbish. Do you want to know who the top assister is in La Liga? It's not Jude Bellingham because he's scoring all their goals.
Pedri.
Saul.
Oh,
remember him? The lad who wasn't good enough to get in Chelsea's team when he came on loan. Yeah. Okay, just thought I'd make that point.
Still Bellingham.
I think Bellingham is tremendous, but I can agree with the point now. Now that I think Errol's point of now that I've seen the lads that we've bought all play, and I know that there's a chance that because of how much ultimately it cost, Liverpool probably could have gone and done some other business. But for the simple question of I wouldn't
value
swap
for money.
I'm sorry, I think Jude Bellingham's terrific, but I'm not swapping Szoboszlai, Gravenberch and McAllister. Yeah, and I don't even think we've seen McAllister play in his best position yet, by the way. So I think there's more to come from there. I wouldn't swap them three for Jude Bellingham, and I might be an idiot for saying that.
No, it's not even. You take one man you take one man in Bellingham, but you'd give those three. Imagine a Szoboszlai going to City or a Gravenberch going to Arsenal this season. They're improving their team. You're taking three players that all of the top teams would have wanted, and they're on our books now as well. So
they're all brilliant, but mate,
I can't transfer them because now I've got a connection with those three players, and I would not sell them for anything. But also, I dreamt about Jude Bellingham playing for Liverpool, I swear. I
just didn't get too emotionally drawn into the Bellingham stuff, so I'm just a little bit more like, it is what it is. I need players that can come and do the job, and we've got them now.
Yeah,
so.
we have.
We've got them, yeah. I just still like Jude Bellingham.
A big wave to all the Anton Griezmann fans in the comments. I'm sorry,
you've rattled a few
I was surprised you're not having him. Like, I must admit, I thought he'd been reborn a little bit. I thought, decent.
Brilliant. Well done. He's been reborn as a tier below top quality that he always was.
Great. I did like
Griezmann back at Atletico Madrid because he failed elsewhere. Like, you know what I mean? Didn't see said
you're not having Griezmann.
I liked Griezmann, to be fair. I thought he was all right.
Never top class.
I reckon he could have been.
Yeah. Could have been. Great. Yeah, absolutely.
He helped France win a World Cup.
I'm sorry, but I'm not having this fucking argument as well. Like, he was their goalkeeper. Telling me Hugo Lloris is the best goalkeeper in the world. Not having it. Not having it. Jude Bellingham I have him, by the way, just not in replacement for the lads that Liverpool bought this summer. Fuck it. Right. Very briefly, before we have a break. Mo Salah, speaking of players who genuinely are top class and have proven it, Dan, better for him, actually. He's had a couple of games off the boil, still managing to get on get his goal involvement. It wasn't an absolutely stellar performance, but actually it's one of those things that worked out really well. He was better in the first half in his all-round danger and play and causing problems, which because they kicked the other way, I saw that right in front of me on the cop, and I saw a lot of people saying, Salah was crap again. I think Chris even said it as well, but he's a menace. He's an absolute menace, and then you'd have that with the goal ultimately. Like, I know it's an open net that he scores in, but he's still like 40 odd yards from goal, and he hits it with his wrong foot and finishes it like it's nothing.
Yeah, and what he does in the goal situation in particular to sort of address that is he creates that panic, and that sort of the sheer fact that he's anywhere near the footy at that stage means the keeper absolutely shits the bed, and the defender does likewise, and Salah just benefits from it. And Szoboszlai's pass into his vicinity is really good, but Salah just creates that danger and creates that what if scenario, and he capitalises on it, and he does it really well. But I think it's a really intelligent performance from Salah, actually, because we've seen so much of his best work be in behind defences, but that wasn't possible yesterday because Forest were so deep in that 5-4-1. They really were the lowest of low blocks, so Salah knew he wasn't going to get much joy doing that sort of stuff. So what he did instead was he just held himself that little fraction deeper, and he does stuff like he does for the second goal. That drag back and the pause of play that means all the defenders just go and then he plays the ball is absolute genius. Like the timing of that and the weight of the ball to Szoboszlai to the byline, I think is a really good performance from Salah overall. A lot better than his Merseyside derby one, which did absolutely stink the gaff out despite his 2 goals. This was a really good and, like I said, another mature performance, and one whereby we said earlier, as a collective, Liverpool never really got out of second, third gear, whichever one you like, and Salah was very much in that boat. But if you can get Mohamed Salah doing that and still coming away with, albeit the pre-assist, but a big involvement in a goal and a goal, sound happy days, because we know we're going to get Mohamed Salah days where he's completely on song and he's tearing it up and he's absolutely unmanageable for the opponents. If he's just fine and he's still coming away with those sort of numbers and accolades, then happy days.
He also could have got another assist because Darwin Nunez could have scored the goal.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's walking away with that. But like you mentioned, the pre-assist for Szoboszlai, for Darwin Nunez, it's class, and he gets doubled up on. Like, everyone should know this. Like, in the first half, I was thinking to myself, like, he's being basically on the sideline the entire, like, we can't get him close enough to goal, and he still manages to influence the game so much. He gets his goal because, once again, he is just inevitable. He's ridiculous. And I read a stat earlier that said he's actually having his best season at Liverpool with expected goals and expected assists, which is a joke when you think about that 17-18 season, because that he was untouchable in. And you know what, at the start of the season, I sat here and said, yeah, this is probably going to be the last season of Mo Salah in a Liverpool shirt. There is no way in hell Liverpool can let Mo Salah go on this form. You have to give him whatever the hell he wants. So I'm interested to see how that goes. Let's hope we all don't lose our minds on that one.
Oh, we will. You can guarantee that.
Yeah. I predicted at the start of the season that Salah's change of mentality was going to lead to him getting either a goal or an assist in every game this season, which is a stupid thing to say. But if you just judge him on the Premier League so far, in 10 appearances, there's only one game that he hasn't had a goal or an assist. And it's Tottenham Hotspur, where he literally got an assist for luisdiaz and had it wrongfully not given by the officials.
So he was cheated out of the perfect record.
Cheated out of that record.
Technically he broke the record, yes, didn't he? If that goal
for
would have counted.
Goal
it was 15 with Jamie Vardy and him, and he would have broken it if the goal would have been given. And then he'd have been on 16, but then he had Luton as his next Premier League game, so he could have been on 17.
He's going to eat for days. Do you know what I think? Last season, towards the back end, I felt like Salah was really frustrated with not only the disappointment of how the season was going, but I felt he almost got to a point, which is probably rare for him, as you mentioned before, about if it's not one on the left, the guy on the other side. He almost got to a point where it's got to be me. Yeah. Because if it's not me, we're not going to do it. Then those penalty misses happened, and it's like, right, there's your bread and butter. And then I think he even felt less than superhuman when he's missing pens, and he's thinking, well, even if I can't do it, then what good is this? Do you know what I mean? And it's almost very like he's resigned to the fact that, oh, well, this is the new level. And Darwin was blowing hot and cold. Jota in and out with injuries, Diaz just coming back, all those things, and it was just like, we've had so much expectation on you to be that talisman. It was like, well, how do I drag everybody else up to my level? Now it looks as if he's like, not about everyone being dragged up to my level. I've got players that I can play with again. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to do it all on my own, so I can be the creator for people, and I can enjoy it. I can make those runs. We was discussing, and I said from the Derby game, I want to see him running at defenders, but the last 2 games we've played in the Prem, there's not been a space to run into. I said I sat here. I said I've got to reanalyze how I'm looking at why Salah's not running, because it's not happened in just one game now. It's not a one-off. It's happened a couple of times. So what's the reason for him to not be making those runs? Because he's not got the space to run into. So what's he doing as a result now? All right, well, I'll work around the corners. I'll do the give and goes. I'll do the blind passes behind the corner. Anything like that. Something different that a defender's not expecting me to do, just to give us an opportunity.
He's playing like a best in the world footballer at the moment, and I was looking at like the players we've been linked with as his replacements. I was looking into like their overall stats and how they perform. Like FBref's got like last 365 day comparisons, and all the ones we've been linked with, it was actually shocking. Salah doesn't carry the ball anymore. He doesn't do long dribbles. He doesn't progressively carry the ball. He doesn't run with the ball. That's not his role. He picks the ball up on the right-hand corner of the penalty area or the right flank, does a couple of steps,
3 passes,
gets past someone and whips the ball in, or gets himself a shooting opportunity, or works himself into a decent situation. It's luisdiaz who does all the running, the dribbling, the ball carrying, and Szoboszlai does it behind him as well. His game's changed and he's playing more like that. You know, it's interesting that he's overtaken Thierry Henry as the top European goal scorer in Premier League history. From a Premier League player, and he's got more of that going for him now. You know, like more like I'm just the best. I'm the best player on the pitch. So just give me the ball and I'll make some magic happen. Absolutely love it. We are going to take a break. Before we do, I've got one more comment on the Bellingham stuff. From Adam Petruccioni says Aspas dominates that league and couldn't take a corner for us. There you go.
You know, when you were asking us to name the top scorers, he was in my head the whole time because he does dominate that league. He literally does, yeah.
I don't think he's even in the conversation.
Got La Liga as his bitch.
Yeah, no, it's not. Right, well, Alexander Sørloth. Is it Alexander Sørloth? The one who was at Palace.
Was at
Palace, yeah. I mean, he's got 4 goals in that league. Right, cool. Break time from us. When we return, we're going to cover some other bits and pieces around Liverpool.
Hey everyone, it's October, which means we got a new prize to give away this month. Yes, one of our wonderful Redmen Plus Legend subscribers will be getting their hands on this, a retro shirt signed by 2 absolute Liverpool legends, Ronnie Whelan and Steve McMahon. If you want to be in the draw to win this very shirt, all you got to do is head on over to redmenplus.com, sign up as a legend subscriber. Not only do you get access to all the amazing content, both in video and in podcast forms, but as a legend, you get added perks as well. You get discounted merch, you get free Redmen merch, you get access to our amazing Discord server, and like I say, entry into each and every monthly competition. Last month we gave a shirt to it signed by Ian Rush. This month we're giving this one signed by another 2 legends, Ronnie Whelan and Steve McMahon. So yeah, redmenplus.com, become a legend and get yourself in the hat. See you over there.
Hey, welcome back. Yes, grab your Redmen TV Christmas jumpers, which I don't know why I keep doing this every week. I go, we should have one on the set. Yeah, here we are. We don't. We will. Limited edition, limited numbers, so grab one while you can. Right, before we take a real handbrake turn into, you know, a slightly more serious content, Errol, where's your cap from?
Oh, 4 Seasons caps. Yeah, just got the message down from brother. So I didn't realise you was going to ask me. Yeah. Just let them know. So yeah, 4 Seasons cap. You can find them on Instagram. Go do the thing.
There you go. Right. Okay. So look, I'm going to tread carefully on this one. I'm going to take the time to make sure I word this right as we introduce this segment. What we've seen in the last few weeks is a number of instances of Liverpool stewards and inside and outside the ground of Liverpool removing flags. So we saw a big thing last week where a lad wearing a pro-Palestine hoodie was asked to remove it and had his flags taken off him, and then was sent back to his seat in just a t-shirt in winter, which seems stupid to me. Seems a little bit inhumane all told. Now, I saw a lot of talk about that, but we've also received a number of emails, because ultimately we get lots of people contact us over all kinds of things on a daily basis. That apparently the week before there was a banner put up that was in memory of 4 Israeli Liverpool fans who'd been killed in the Hamas attacks, and they were asked to take that down. And that was also at the same time where there was it God save the people of Gaza.
For God's sake, save Gaza, I think it said.
Yeah. It was on the front, and apparently there'd been Palestine flags up in the cop. Again, I hadn't seen them. I did see the black banner on the front. And what I wanted to kind of expand this out with, without pitching into it, first and foremost, what it kind of showed me is that there's just it's so raw and emotional on both sides, and I can understand that there's a predicament that comes around this. But we've also seen this kind of expanded. So I noticed it at the weekend. So I went in the turnstile with Chris and Chloe on one side of the cop, and I was just videoing my intro to my vlog, and one of the stewards said to me, "Can you unzip your jacket?" before I went in, and no one ever asked me to do that. So I was like, "Oh, sorry, what's this for?" And she said, "We've been asked to basically check the clothing of anyone who's seen to be filming themselves around the ground, because we're on the watch out for Stop Oil protesters," which, if I'd heard that in isolation from the stuff that I've seen over the last week or two, I'd have taken that at face value. But ultimately, I thought that, okay, that's a perfectly legitimate thing if you're going down that route. But I'm pretty sure that's not why it was being done. We've also seen craftsmen of the cop. I've had his Wataru Endo flag, so we put this up. He had a little trouble with it in the midweek, I think, but he put a tweet out saying, "My Endo banner has been confiscated on the way into turnstile today, and by a steward, blah, blah, blah." He says, the FA had issued a blanket ban on nationalistic flags at all stadia, which isn't, to my knowledge, isn't the case, least of all because Forest had a couple of English flags up in the other end, and we've seen a few other people have made mentions of it. So there's a guy who had a Kostas Tsimikas one up that was asked to be removed because it had the Greek flag on it as well.
Colombia flag yesterday as well, I think.
A Colombian flag was taken down. Dan, it's just, I don't know, it's a mess, at the moment, and it feels like rather than address it kind of directly, they're going for a blanket approach, which, I don't know, for me, I'm empathetic to the situation, because no matter what side you come out, there's going to be people hurt on the other side. I mean, we were sent an email of a video of one of the funerals of one of the Israeli Liverpool fans, and it was heartbreaking. It was Israeli people saying, I don't think I can continue to support the club because they haven't come out in criticism of Hamas and what have you. We've also got people coming out, obviously incredibly pro-Palestine and what have you. Liverpool are in a very awkward situation with this, but the problem is with the knock-on impact, you're ending up with lots of really weird sort of knock-on effects, like the things we've discussed, like Colombian flags not being allowed when Luis Diaz's parents have been kidnapped.
Well, precisely, yeah, and it has become a mess because for lots of different reasons, because they haven't come out and strictly said carte blanche, this is what you can and can't do, this is what you can and can't bring to the stadium. Therefore, you've got people turning up, like yesterday with Colombian flag, with a Japanese flag, completely, off topic from the bigger picture here, which is obviously the Israeli and the Palestine stuff going on. And they've had them taken off them, and they're wondering why. And then they've been told, like you mentioned there, the FA have sort of levied this law jurisdiction that you can't do it anymore, and then you've got examples of it going on in the away end. Whether Liverpool have jurisdiction over that is a different question. You would imagine so, with it being Anfield. And then Arsenal, I think also they've got their Tomiyasu flag, the Japanese one, that's perfectly fine to be there. That's their whole game. So it's become really, really messy. It really has. And I understand Liverpool not wanting to go or pick a side, essentially, because as you mentioned there, you've had emails, I've had countless sort of DMs on Redmen channels channels saying you need to do this for this or that for that. And it's actually been a week of it because there's been a lot going on. Obviously, we had the Paul McHugh stuff yesterday as well. There's been loads going on this week. It's been a really sort of sad week for these sorts of events. Unfortunately, nobody ever likes this, but it seems to have all come along at once. And what Liverpool have done and the stance Liverpool have taken and where it sort of fell flat is, like I mentioned, is the fact they haven't come out and give any sort of hard line on it. So therefore nobody truly understands what they can and can't do. And people, I seen yesterday there was somebody on Twitter trying to sort of really raise awareness and sort of get an emotion going about the Palestine flags, and they tried to raise money and all that sort of stuff and get a big thing going. And I think there was handfuls of it from what I remember seeing, but it's so tricky. It's so treacherous as well from a club's perspective. It really is. But I don't think they've handled it particularly well, personally, because as we've mentioned there, they've got Colombian flags getting taken. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at that point, does it?
And when you start also determining what people can and can't do on the cop, you're on a slippery slope. Liverpool's are more than most clubs in this country, ones who are happy, if there's a cause, they'll put it on there. And exactly, it's particularly, people say about keeping politics out of football. We don't keep politics out of football. Jeremy Corbyn's had his face on the cop. You know what I mean? That's how it is.
Well.
The craftsman of the cop. We made a documentary about this guy. Brilliant fella. Is literally craftsman in creating banners. He put this out, so I haven't verified this, but this is what he says is the guidance issued by the club said that apparently, in addition to Anfield's long-standing flag policy and following consultation with security and safety experts, it's been determined that Israeli and Palestinian flags should not be permitted to be displayed at football matches for the foreseeable future, and the same approach can be applied to other displays, banners, clothing or scarves identified as pro-Israeli or pro-Palestinian or related to the current crisis. Go on, Errol.
I want to be that guy. That's a cop-out. I'm sorry, it is. Because I think you mentioned Arsenal then. I think, and what you were saying there about obviously the Jerry Corbyn, we are one of a handful of clubs in this country. Did you see what Celtic did?
Yes.
Yeah.
The other day for obviously for Palestine, for the conflict. Like, the conflict is happening geographically where the conflict is happening. There is no winner. We as the human race are fucking failing.
Yeah.
Like, there is no winner in that at all. I keep hearing people say, I haven't got a horse in the race, so I can talk. We've all got a horse in the race because we all breathe and live the same oxygen, the same air. We live on the same planet. We've got to share this space. Liverpool as a football club is one of those handfuls where we are more of there is more of a political element to our history, our tradition, all those things in the fabric and our DNA. So you will have people that will want to see us as an ally, from the club, not necessarily the club, but like the community, the Liverpool spirit, and it's that, and it's feeling a little bit let down that a club that is so used to Black Lives Matter or whatever it is, right? We're gonna make a statement. We're gonna go out. The players are gonna do X, Y, and Z. And they're gonna make demonstrations. The incident with Russia and Ukraine, and I think like there are levels to
the
it.
Ukrainian stuff's the thing that's been most often mentioned. Is like Liverpool are selling merchandise with the Ukrainian flag on it, and for that kind of support. The main stand
was literally lit up in the Ukraine flag every single day.
The Liver building or St George's, all these things, and it's like that they're bigger issues because you're on another level of where the conversation needs to be held, as opposed to it being like a football institutional thing. But when you just silo it and look directly at Liverpool Football Club, Liverpool, you seen what Mo Salah did? Tap into his PR people that spoke so eloquently and allowed him to articulate himself in such a genuine and authentic and true to himself way, and say, all right, let's do that on scale.
Well, the problem is, and this is why, just to kind of wrap this up, because I actually had an email about that, saying, because we'd spoken about Salah's video that he put out, and said actually we thought it was actually quite nice to talk about the humanitarian side of things, think of it from a people's perspective, not the top line people, not the people who are in charge making the decisions, talk about the people. And someone said that it was disgusting that we'd come out in support of Mohamed Salah saying that, because everything should be prefaced with a point of condemning these sorts of actions, and
that's the problem.
This is the problem, and why everyone has to tread incredibly carefully. And this is the problem with actually when you can't even come out and say something as baseline human as, wouldn't it be great if we could all just stop killing each other for ideologies? You know what I mean, or over books, or over flags, or over borders, things that were created by people long before we were ever born are determining whether we get to live or die. You know what I mean? That's where it becomes. That's why that for me exemplifies why the whole situation is a mess. So I have empathy for Liverpool in this, because you're in
between a rock and a hard place.
Because if you go with one, there's going to be outrage or hate on the other side, and that's something that I've really struggled to kind of put down. I am not an expert enough in it for me to be able to want to publicly weigh in. I have my suspicion, but the point is, people empathise with Liverpool because of that politicisation of the idea of being downtrodden and standing up. But I've seen people on both sides of this conflict message me and tell me that's why they love Liverpool, and that's why Liverpool should stand up in them in return, and that's why the whole thing is an absolute mess. But yeah, I didn't want to feel like we didn't see this kind of stuff. We do. It's horrible, but I haven't liked the treatment I've seen of some people in regard to this, and it's having a knock-on effect that is a concern, beyond all of this kind of stuff as well. Of when we start to tell, you start to say, well, actually, we don't really like this and we don't really like that. You then start to neuter the impact of our voice. Liverpool have used that voice Liverpool fans have used that voice for really positive causes over the years. So yeah, it needs to be be careful with that. Right. To handbrake off back to another thing. Let's just get back to talking about about Liverpool for a few bits before we wrap up. We've hinted upon it already, Chloe. In terms of the unity of the squad, I put a video clip out, and it was from Darwin Nunez's miss and ultimately Gravenberch's goal the other week. I've seen this starting to creep into the Liverpool players. They love each other. They really do. This squad are totally bought in. And as much as I loved you, the one you had the clear clip of Darwin kicking Curtis Jones because he was clearly winding him up for the miss, and he basically booted him up the arse, and they went and jogged on. But actually, in the midst of all that, you've got Harvey Elliott and Ryan Gravenberch sharing this just big smiley hug. I mean, these are lads who are basically competing for one space in the Liverpool side at this point. You've got Curtis Jones and Szoboszlai's relationship looks absolutely amazing. They're all just bought in. It's honestly rebirthing my love for this Liverpool. Klopp's rebirthing the team. He's trying to get a new bunch of players in. But actually, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling my love go in the same direction as well.
That's the thing about this Liverpool side. They are so easy to adore. There's not a single player who I don't fully love in this team. I can get behind every single one of them. I can support every single one of them. And it's a thing that not a lot of clubs can say. I mean, I saw someone on Twitter the other day say, do Man United have a single player who their fan base can actually fully love? And it's like you go through every single position and every single position's, sub, and it's like, no, I love them. And it's great that they have this bond, because we've seen it with Liverpool sides. You're going up against a machine in Manchester City. You need to get as many boosts and as many advantages as possible, and this is one of them, is bringing everyone together. Everyone in the squad knows that they're so important and they're needed. Curtis Jones, you've been out the squad because you've had a red card. Like, that was your position 3 games ago, but you got a red card. That's the only reason. And when you're not playing, whether it's due to injuries or something horrific that no one could ever imagine, like what Luis Diaz is going through. I mean, look at what Jota did. Jota would never have wanted that position. He wasn't supposed to start. He knew he wasn't supposed to start. He came out and said, the only reason I started was because of this situation with Luis Diaz, and that held on to me, and that it gave me the feeling of, I'm going to score today and I'm going to score for him. And that's what you love to see, backing each other up, supporting each other, knowing that. I mean, Kostas the other week, he was asked about Robertson, and he was like, I don't want him to get injured. That's not gave me an advantage. It's got me in the team, but I don't want it. I'd rather he was here and we were fighting tooth and nail and we were really supporting each other and we were challenging each other. And that's what you want. You want the side that you push each other, you challenge each other, but you also want it, okay, well, Curtis Jones has won this position over me from the start. Let's fully support him, back him, watch him do great, and then it's my turn. And that's the thing about this Liverpool side. There's not a single player who I don't adore. And no matter the lineup, no matter who's playing, I sit there and I'm like, I'm confident. I'm like, yeah. You know what? If Curtis Jones is in there instead of Gravenberch, boss. If Harvey Elliott's in there, boss. Like, there's so many positions in which I don't care who starts. I'm just excited to see them. And we've got so many superstars who, you know, have got such a long future with us, who can be absolute world class. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. And also the mentality's there. I mean, Soboslai the other day, I'd been asked, what can we win? And he said, everything. What do you mean, what can we win?
Listed the competition.
Exactly. And I love that. I literally love everything about Jurgen Klopp and what he's created.
I mean, Lazar Markovic came in and said, I've won a trophy in every season. I've been a professional, so I don't see any reason why we can't carry that on at Liverpool. But, you know, so let's just go and do it first.
I don't remember that.
But no, I know. No one does. Because we've all expunged it from our memories, particularly his career at Liverpool. But it goes, everything that Chloe said there, Errol, the Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp that we've fallen in love with, you could ask any Liverpool fan who their favourite player is, and the odds of them saying the same one are nothing like what they were 10 years prior to that, where it was largely, it would be Carragher, Gerrard, or Torres, or Fowler, and whatever, you know. You could pick, you know, most people with Bobby shirts on, or with that Virgil on, or, you know, countless others. It feels like we're in danger of having that again.
No, certainly, and we've got a strictly no dickhead policy allowed.
Yeah,
like,
that's what it boils down to.
No, real talk. Like, it genuinely does. Like, you mentioned the Man U comparison. They're littered with them, littered with egos, littered with I am Mr. Man U. Someone that thinks, oh, I am the heir apparent to Ronaldo's throne from Portugal. All these characters that just spoils it. And the thing is, you only need a couple to really ruin the wider team. Man, you've got like mold from the ground right through to your attic. Like, it is terrible. We're a new build in that sense, and we've had to do a rebuild. You know what I mean? We just put a new conservatory on the back, a little extension on the side, and we're absolutely flying all over again. The surveyor's come round and he's licking his lips thinking, yeah, the value of this team right now where he's at is going through the roof, because we've built it. And it takes, like, to have that football IQ in that eye. We've got great scouts that have gone out and done their homework, and more often than not, they've got the players right, but they've never dropped the ball with the person. There might be one that you can think of, or two in 8 years nearly, where you think, really, with the right profile for us. But as soon as Klopp's had that in, he's got them out, and he hasn't got them out in a way that's like, you know, they've been exiled, and it's causing disruption to the squad.
Well,
and
the
like
ones like that.
He was the one, but like, even that was dealt with. It was done within a space.
And also, it wasn't like it was a Jurgen Klopp purchase. He was already there.
In terms of the personality and the attitude, and he's had trouble as well last week, didn't he? I seen he was fighting his manager last week. So it turned out he might have been spot on. But to the point, that all comes down to Klopp.
Yeah,
because it takes the people in the back room to spot them as a player, but then Klopp meets them.
We've all known that, the white of the eyes,
behind the eyes as well, and what they like as a person, the family life, all that sort of stuff, and that's what's so integral, because that leads to that no dickhead policy that you mentioned, and that all stems into the fact that we have this unity, this togetherness, this bond. And to Chloe's point as well, that when you are going up against a juggernaut like Manchester City, you need every single bit of percentage you can get, and our unique sort of USP, if you like, is the fact that we just love each other, and we're going to go to the well and support each other to the nth degree. And that again boils down to Klopp picking the right people. And people have question marks about Gravenberch and his sort of attitude and his personality because of what happened at Bayern Munich, but Klopp trusted him. Klopp's obviously met him and gone, no, I'm backing this lad. He just needs the right coaching, the right nurturing, and I'm the guy to do it. And look what's happening. You
said the other day as well, they gambled on him because we might not have needed a third eight, but we needed him
as a person.
As a person, we need that person, that profile, and we can still work with what he's got and all of his other traits, and we'll find it and we'll make it work. And I think that it sets us apart from, you said, the cities and what they've got in their operation. It sets us apart from the Man U. It's almost to a point of what the likes of Mikel Arteta has tried to adopt for his Arsenal. I see him as trying to strike the perfect balance between being City and being where Liverpool were at their very best when they was going toe to toe. How can I extract the best from what I experienced at City with all the things that I and Pep admired with the Liverpool camp, and try and gel them together here at Arsenal? So you've got other managers and other teams looking for the examples of, well, how do I get that unity? How do I get that spirit? How do I get, not to just be a cliche and a throwaway term, mentality monsters, but how do I get my lads to have that level of mentality where not only are they running through brick walls from me as the gaffer, but they're not leaving any man left behind in terms of the lads that they're going arm to arm with. Like, they'll be in the trenches, and not personifies that from more from our perspective of last year. We was in the trenches, we was in the mud from our own standards, and it was hard, but only through going through that adversity and having those new faces as well. I think it was something that I heard about Salah, like every now and again he might not have needed a new world beater or something, but he just get new faces in the mix just so it freshens things up. You can have new rapport, you can build new chemistry with people, might bring the best out of somebody else in a different area of the pitch. All those things matter, and we just seem to navigate that intangible space so well that it almost becomes tangible.
There's something refreshing about just bringing new skills in. Of someone coming in and going, have you seen this? Oh, no, I haven't. You know, there's a thing where you've seen it all. You've been, there's a general undercutting of the level, because it becomes hard to judge where you're at when you see the same lads day in, day out, and maybe they've all reached their peak. It's hard to know when it's then slipping, because if it happens collectively across the board, you won't be able to recognise it. And all of a sudden, you're bringing in fresh positivity, fresh enthusiasm, and actual technical abilities. Because again, just look at Gravenberch and Szoboszlai. We haven't owned footballers like that. You know, I've seen a lot of people saying Gravenberch is like Genie.
No, he's better.
I'm saying better. Look, we're talking about a guy who was an integral part of one of the best midfield or best teams Liverpool have ever had. So that will come in time. But there's a skill set that he brings, how he is on the ball. He's Genie combined with Thiago, the way from what I've seen so far. You know,
Torre-esque as well. Do you know what I mean?
You know, so I was like, we certainly, you know, he's got the engine that Jordan Henderson had, but he's got additional technical attributes on top. This is it's refreshing from all angles, really. Go on.
The other thing is that these players haven't heard this message before.
Yes.
They've not heard it from Jurgen Klopp. Our players have heard maybe different versions of the same message from Jurgen Klopp over and over and over again. And the difference between Jurgen Klopp and Mikel Arteta is that Arteta seems a really good manager, like a coach. He wraps his arms around players, but he struggles to make the really hard decisions because he doesn't want to upset players. Jurgen Klopp doesn't do that, because Jurgen Klopp will make that decision but still make you give everything. It was like you just mentioned Gini Wijnaldum there. He benched Gini Wijnaldum for that Barca game, and Gini Wijnaldum rose to the bait and went, when I'm coming on that pitch, you're going to watch me. And I don't think that's what Jurgen Klopp's so good at. He's got both sides. He's the dad. He's your, you know, like, he puts an arm around you. He evolves you into being a superstar. He's there for it all. He's someone you can go to and talk to anything about. But on the other side, when he comes to make hard decisions and hard realities, he's also there and he'll tell you. And he won't sugarcoat it. He'll tell you if you've been crap, and he'll still be able to get the best out of you by doing that. And like you mentioned there, he's a world-class manager, but he's also a world-class man, and he doesn't let people who think they're bigger than the club come to Liverpool and believe that.
There's an honesty to the playing squad about that. Of like, when someone's not pulling it, they'll say there's a problem, they'll say it, but they don't then get annoyed about it. And that's a bit of an issue sometimes when you have these like world-class players who've been there and done it all. It can go the wrong way when all of a sudden you're trying to refresh that squad. They're like, look at like Ronaldo at Man United. So, you know, we spoke about him, the second coming of Ronaldo, and they said his standards were so high, but actually when people weren't meeting that standards, you got to cob on with them instead of dragging them up with them. And that's a real danger sometimes, was actually the new lads have come in, and again, because of the no dickheads policy, because they've got the right right personalities in. These lads have all come in, and as long as they come in and work the socks off, then that's your base, your entry level. That's what you've got to be, just to be able to walk in the door. You don't get to set foot on that A-team training pitch at the AXA unless your work rate is up here. Your technical ability will follow, but as long as you give your absolute all and you'll pull in the right direction, then everything else can
Trent
be
said that in
the lactate test. We've seen that in the summer, by the way, didn't we? When someone was like pissed the lactate test, it was a big deal. All the players like, look at this kid run. That's not a big thing at other clubs, doesn't feel like, but because he runs forever, everyone's like, wow, this guy's boss. You know what I mean? Straight away you're in, aren't you? You know, it's interesting.
And I think Trent said it again. Was it Chambers? Was
Chambers?
Yeah. And he was like, since he's come into the setup, like his attitude and how he's been, and I think it's that, like you said there, that's the entry level. Like, we're not expecting you to come in and fill Simicastle's boots or Robertson's boots or be anywhere near that level of ability, but you come in, you work hard, you graft, you follow the lead of the experience. Well. You follow the lead of the experienced people, you enjoy it, and you make an impact when you get the opportunity to make an impact, and you're on the right path to be with one of us. And I think that's it. And I said the other day, and someone laughed in one of the YouTube comments, I was like, Klopp is like the mother hen, and they all just follow his lead. Wherever he goes, they're all prepared to just follow. And it is right now, like the rebuild, he looks 5 years younger, which is mad, but he looks like he's got that energy about him all over again, and I don't see why Jürgen, you don't just stick around for another 5-10 maybe, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Just very briefly, Endo's the sort of one, we talked about earlier on in the show about how, the 4 that we bought, and we wouldn't swap probably the 3, you know what I mean, when we're talking about Bellingham, but I actually quite like the fact that Endo just looks like he's slowly settling in. I'm not expecting him to be Liverpool's DM for the next 5 years, but I wanted to see us getting more of a tune out of him. I think the last week we've seen that now, or at least the raising of his level. And again, go back to that policy. He's clearly the right mentality. He's got the right attitude. He's got the right experience. Can his legs actually get him up to a point where he can be a consistently useful footballer for Liverpool? Remains to be seen. But every time he takes the field now, I get closer to going, okay, yeah, fine. And we don't need him to be that superstar. He's never going to be the best player on the planet in that position for us. He's not going to be the next Rodri, you know what I mean? But again, I just feel so much more assured, because actually for a start, because everyone else is pulling the weight, it allows him a little bit more time that everyone else is hit the ground running. I actually thought McAllister's best game at DM came at the weekend against Forest as well. Gravenberch is going from strength to strength. Szoboszlai's been brilliant since moment one almost of walking into the side. All very encouraging things.
He came out the womb in a pair of Preds, didn't he?
He just
absolutely did. Signed by Stevie G and everything.
David John, who's one of our YouTube members, sent in the chat, says, loving this today, especially Errol. Big love for Errol today. He really suits this format. Have you been priming the comments?
I loaded them all. I'm back on the studio. Let me back in,
guys. I'm on the podcast tomorrow. Could you just all turn up for this one? That'd be great.
Turn up for us, boys and girls.
Not that I don't think you've been great as well, Errol. By the way,
I appreciate it.
Right, sound. We're going to be doing more footy chat, pretty much. Well, not quite straight from this. We're going to go to the toilet and make a cup of tea. But we will be doing the Bias Football podcast over on redmenplus.com. This week, you know what we're talking about?
United.
We're talking about how crap Man United are. Yes, we're going to be talking about the fallout from Super Sunday, which saw Cara and Neville going at it once again. It's all the Glazers' fault, by the way. Let's work out whether that's the case. We're going to talk about Anthony. We're going to talk about can Ten Hag still be Man United manager come Christmas, and we'll have a little laugh at Chelsea while we're at it as well. So yeah, come and join us over on redmenplus.com. If you use the code BIASED, BIASED, you're going to get it for half price for 2 months. So yeah, go over there, use that code on our Captain monthly subscription, get it for half price, join us live, and yeah, we're going to have a very, very, very good end to the afternoon with that one. We hope to see you there. Thank you so much to the team. Thank you so much for everyone's watching. And I've done it on social media, but yeah, Tom Dutton left his final day at Redmen was yesterday. Yeah, best wishes to Tom Dutton. Black Tea Tom will be missed, but I'm sure he's going to go on to big things. So if anyone's got any messages of positivity, check out the post we put out on Twitter and send some love to Tom. That'd be great. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, and for supporting an absolutely amazing football team. You've made a great choice. See you all soon. Ta-ra. Thank you so very, very much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like. The season is now well underway. If you need extra Redmen content, be it podcast, videos, documentaries, interviews, and general shows, fill your boots on redmenplus.com today.